I love it when a guest sings my song. But Jeff, let me play devil's advocate here. This is the 21st century. We've evolved. Diversity. We are united in our diversity. Have you heard that before? Anyway, diversity. Diversity is the foundation of our society, Jeff. Diversity is the foundation of our society. Matt, what's the matter with you guys?
So what I also find along with that, BJ, is that in the midst of this diversity, we must talk about the best interest of the child. What is the best interest of the best interest of the child is to grow up being very tolerant. It's interesting how we use this phrase, best interest of the child. Nobody knows what the best interest of the child means. But we say the best interest of the child is what we're really concerned about. And somehow, we have a case here in Texas right now, a friend of mine who was planning to be a missionary, he was a youth minister or wanted to do that, and his wife filed for unilateral no-fault divorce against him. He did not want it, and actually there was fault on her part. But, this unilateral no-fault divorce gives her covered so that she can act like, it's just supportable. He gets his children taken away from him. He loses his asset. Right now, as of 2 days ago, he was thrown into jail because he's basically indigent and he can't pay child support. But somehow this is all in the best interest of the child now. He was a loving father. His children love him. He spends all of his time with them. He makes sacrifices for his children. And the best interest of the child now is that he be put in jail until he pays child support. His parents were sending him money from their Social Security checks to keep him out of jail. And some of the stuff, the system is broken. So the system of diversity, this is another government-imposed ideology. What does diversity mean? We talk about diversity, but what we should be looking at is diversity beyond sexual orientation. This is really become the politics of sex, but we're calling it diversity. And we're forcing people to accept things that we would have called immoral. There are absolute moral standards. And even in our diversity, we need to accept that there are things that are right and things that are wrong. And when we use diversity to somehow say the things that are wrong are just as good as the things that are right, there is something perverse about that whole mentality. And it is not, going to go back to the best interest of our children, it's not in our best interest of our children to give them a confused morality, to have them growing up with things that they know are wrong, to see family court violence, in a sense, take place. And then we wonder why our kids become violent themselves. Anyway, maybe that's a little bit of a rambling answer, but diversity is a false name, just like no fault divorce is a false name. There's so many things that it's a nice name, it's the marketing gimmick. But what's beneath that marketing term? It is not diversity. It's actually an enforced morality, or should I say an enforced immorality. That's the problem.
I think the root...
And one of the problems as well is that, a lot of this is being kind of shoved and imposed on us by cultural and political elites. Just take no-fault divorce, for example. This was initiated by the family law section of the state bar associations, so family divorce attorneys, and they've been pushing for this, and now they're judges and the like, and they're the ones that have been pushing this on people. And so when people like Jeff Morgan and a group of folks down in Texas try to repeal this, what happens? Well, the lawyers show up and they say, well, this is a bad idea because, we don't want to just place blame on people. But it is a morality issue because, it's a good indication of where we're at as a country because, again, as my own example, adultery didn't matter. My dad walked away guiltless. And, we in the church, we have a particular view, but the law, there is meaning to the law, and the law does pinch the conscience. And so I'll just give you one quick example of a woman who, by the way, there's a Facebook group that we have called No Fault Divorce and Why It's Bad. But anyway, so someone got in contact with me, and she was saying that her husband filed for no fault divorce. She found out that he had an affair with a homosexual partner, and and so he had filed for no fault divorce. And she asked her lawyer, well, is there anything we could do? Because obviously I feel like this is wrong, and it's even more wrong in that he's going off with a homosexual partner. And the lawyer turned to her and he said, he could have sex with as many animals as he wanted, and at the end of the day, he would get a no fault, and he would be completely scot free. End quote. You know, and so that's the level of depravity that we're talking about when you have zero standards in general, but particularly in marriage, where you just say, well, he could do anything he wanted, and it wouldn't matter. The law would not hold him accountable. That
is one heck of a statement. Not just being doesn't stand alone. That's a heck of a statement about not Texas but our nation.